Coming up on Cruisin'.
My guy over there?
Yeah.
Oh, I just found him. I found him in the rubbish.
Cruisin' from Cruisin' for Heroes in Brookpark, Ohio. It starts right now. Nothing says home days like classic cars. At least that's the plan in Brookpark, Ohio. Hi, I'm Bill Bronke. Welcome to Cruisin'. Today we've set up shop at the Cruisin' for Heroes in Brookpark, Ohio, raising money for wounded warriors and enjoying a lot of classic cars here at their home days, because we all know you can live in your car, but you can't drive your house. Well, check it out. So how did you end up with us?
In 2011, my husband decided, he had been looking before, and finally he found one for sale on eBay and contacted the person, and we went out to Paynesville and he bought it.
And when your husband bought that car, you're like, great.
Yeah, because it was his dream car, and I was really glad that he had a chance and an opportunity to buy one.
And how long had you been listening to your husband talk about this car?
Years. I don't know how many.
So your husband took it to shows, and then he passed, and now it's yours.
Correct.
So what do you really, besides the fact that this was your husband's dream, what do you really love about this car?
It's just a classic. You know, it's perfect. I don't drive it. My daughter drives it. She enjoys driving it, and we enjoy car shows.
You got your own driver?
I have my own driver.
Do you recommend all classic car show people to have their own driver?
No, not really. Most people like to drive their own car. I know she likes to drive it, and I don't care if I do or not, so we let her drive it.
Okay. So
she takes care of it too, so.
What kind of things do you hear when people see this car?
A lot of people say, I remember this from my youth. There's so many people that always say they know this car from their youth, or they had one, or their parents had one.
When you look at the car from the inside, because you're in the passenger seat, you get to enjoy it. What do you really like about it? This is a different era.
It's just, like I say, it's fun to have it, to go to car shows, and you meet interesting people. That's what I really love about the fact that I inherited it.
And that was my next question, is what do you like about the car show?
You meet a lot of people, you make friends, people that you know for years.
So I'm guessing when you get in this car or just like look at it, a lot of memories?
Oh yeah.
What's like your favorite memory?
We used to get in the car on a Saturday morning and just drive, and then stay overnight somewhere and then drive back. So we had a lot of road trips in this car.
What do you think brought the most joy to your husband about this?
Just having it, just owning it, and being able to drive it and go to car shows and stuff.
A 52 Chevy Deluxe. Why did you want this car?
I happened to see it in somebody's driveway. Okay, so I was dickering with the guy. He finally took the amount that I want to spend for it, and this is it from now. I worked on it. It's a stock 52 Chevy Deluxe. This is my car. This is my baby.
What drew you to this car? I know you saw it, but what did you really like about it?
My dad had one close to this, so that's why I got it.
Tell me about that color. That's very unusual.
It's a grayish color, but it's got a little blue contrast to it. I bought it like that. The guy had it repainted, same color.
One of the first things that jumps out about your baby is kind of the accents. But you just trusted someone to do it? Tell me about that.
He did it in the garage. He says, just let me do what I got to do, and I left him alone. He did all the increment work on it, on the fenders, on the hood, in the back, put my wife's name and mine on it, did the dash on the inside. He did all kind of stuff to it. He says, give me what you think. I said, I got 75 bucks. I'll take it.
Wait a minute, he did all that for 75? That's not, you're not kidding?
75 bucks.
Oh, I was just gonna say I wanted to work for you, but not now, you're too cheap. How do you pick out just the right backseat driver?
My guy over there?
Yeah.
Oh, I just found him. I found him in the rubbish with a pair of sunglasses and a hat. He's my buddy. This is kind of a mafioso car. I got the machine gun in the back and bullet holes on the trunk. So that's my theme on this car.
Tell me about the interior. I love those old dashboards. What do you like about it?
It's just old. I mean, there's no other, you know, it's antique. That's what's good about it.
You're a mafia guy. How helpful is that huge trunk?
I haven't put anybody in there yet.
What's it like to drive?
It's tough. It's because it doesn't have power steering. So when you turn these corners, you got to put the gas on in order to make a good steer out of it. I have a what they call a suicide knob on there. It's a knob that helps you steer, and that's what they called them way back then, suicide knob.
Why
they did that, I don't know.
Tell me about what's powering this.
A 237 six-cylinder Chevy block.
There's a lot of weight here, though.
I know. The car itself is, you know, it's old metal, it's steel.
What's your favorite thing about this car?
The way I drive it around. Just drive it around and have fun with it. That's all. Put my arm out the window, just got a steering wheel.
How do you pick out just the right radio?
That's one thing it needs, is a new radio. Anybody got a new radio for my car out there? Hey.
We're just getting started, and you know what? It didn't take long to figure out our favorite part of home days is out here in the parking lot. We've got more coming up from Cruising for Heroes on Cruising. Stick around. Welcome back to Cruising for Heroes from Brookpark, Ohio on Cruising. You're a Pinto guy. How did you become a Pinto guy? No one's a Pinto guy.
Actually, back in high school, my girlfriend bought a brand new Pinto. Fun car, fun toy, yeah. So I found this on National Dragster. I wanted something more streetable than what I had. In case I break something, I could put a motor in it and drive it. So that's why we got a street car.
But this is a historic car. Did you know about all this? Tell me about the history of this.
Back in the early 90s, late 80s, Hot Rod Magazine had what they called the fastest streetcar shootout. They ran to Memphis, Orlando, all that. He had a 351 Cleveland in it. With 2 bottles of nitrous, he would empty both bottles every run. So yeah, it's a piece of history. It is one of the top 10 fastest streetcars in America.
So how fast did they have this?
He had it going 860s back then, yeah.
And so naturally, that engine wasn't big enough for you?
I didn't like the nitrous idea. I did try nitrous a couple times. Just the burps, the flames, the explosions, not for me.
Which is why you have a Pinto.
Yeah. My wife has been grocery shopping with it. We set off every car alarm in the parking lot.
So you're real popular at Giant Eagle.
Yeah.
Tell me about the engine now.
Okay, right now it's a Ford Motorsport Block 460. Board stroked out. Comes to almost be a 588 cubic inch, which is what you see here.
How many people ask you if you're insane?
A lot. Yes.
And your answer?
Crazy. Being with the clutchless 5-speed transmission in it, the car is just ultra violent. After a day at the races, I have trouble driving home. The next day, I can barely move my neck.
So you know racing is for you?
Oh yeah. It's fun.
So why do you love this car?
Would I say it's cheaper than Cedar Point? No. But on a roller coaster, on the hills, the spirals, you're just there. This, I'm somewhat in control of it, trying to keep it in its own lane, okay?
What's the fun part of doing this?
Just the rush, the adrenaline, the speed. Just say you leave the starting line, you pull a 1.2 second 60-foot time. The wheels are 2 feet in the air. You hit second gear, it's still at 2 feet. Hit third gear, it carries about a foot. Touches down, I'll hit fourth gear, still pull the wheels 6 inches. Carry them about 3 inches through fifth gear. Pull the parachute and snap. That's fun.
What do you hear when people see this Pinto?
It's as I have people pull up next to me in a Chevelle or a Mustang. They'll just look over, shake their head like, no. They don't even try, all right? I've had a Berea cop, Brookpark, actually 2 Brookpark cops, one next to me, one behind me, just waiting for me to be stupid. And they're saying, it's cool, bye.
But wait, this is for sale?
Yes.
Why?
I want something a little bit safer and I can go faster, okay? Going 155 mile an hour in a Pinto is just dangerous. To run this big a motor in this short of a car is stupid.
This was your graduation present?
Yeah. My parents were gonna surprise me with it at my graduation party, and they were gonna, we were gonna walk by, and my dad was gonna be like, hey, how do you like this car? And then hand me the keys. But prom was coming up, and he's like, oh, let him roll in style, you know? And we're looking at, he's looking at cars, not telling me and stuff, and one day he goes, hey, we're thinking about getting you a gift for graduation, and we're gonna get you a car. And I was like, oh, okay. And in my head, I thought maybe something newer. But then I realized I was in my family, so I was like, nah, it's gonna be something older. He's looking, he shows a all blue Gran Torino, like bumpers were painted, everything. And he's like, there's this, and I'm looking, I go, I like it. And he showed me the Edsel, and I'm looking at it, and I go, wow. I go, I want that, you know. And he goes, are you sure? I go, yeah. So I got the Edsel, and I remember when I first started working on it, he tells me not to do anything stupid with it. 3 to 4 years later, and now it looks like this, you know.
What was the color? It's moon what?
It's moonrise gray and a snow white. I looked it up online. I wanted to, because when my dad said make it original, I went right at it. You know, I looked up online like the original color for everything.
Basically, you get this car, and one of the first things you do is just take the engine apart?
When I would start it, a little puff of smoke would come out the exhaust, and he goes, oh, that's probably, you know, your heads or whatever. I go, okay. And then like the next day, I go, hey Dad, I'm gonna go work on the Edsel. He's like, all right, go ahead. Me and my older brother walk out and start just tearing apart the engine. I remember I'm like, hey Dad, you know, here's what I did. And he's like, do you know what you're doing? I go, absolutely not, you know, there's only one way to learn, you know. While I had that done, I got the exhaust done, and, you know, it was a big opportunity to get a lot done, and, you know.
What are some of your favorite parts about it? I mean, I'm looking at the turn signals are different, the side mirrors, like there are just so many unique things to this car.
What do I like about it?
Yeah.
I think what I like most about it is considered the ugliest car, and it's like one of those things, it's so ugly, it's pretty, you know, and it's like the side mirrors, I mean, they don't work, but, you know, they're there, you know, it's just overall, like, I don't know, it's just a cool car. Like, it's weird, like, because a younger kid, they're usually into, like, you know, Hondas or the newer cars, but me, there's something about this car that just, you know.
The dash looks ahead of its time.
The whole car itself is, like, way ahead of its time. Like we believe, because Edsel was only around for 3 years, 58, 59, and 60. After that, it was, you know, people were like, oh, it's ugly, it's this, it's that, you know. Out of all my cars and the cars at my house, this is the most reliable car.
One of the things about this that you don't see is the wraparound windshield.
Yeah, on both back and front, and it's like a fish tank, you know. And then the windows, there's no post. It's a hard top, so all the windows roll down. If you're in there driving, dancing, everybody's gonna see you dance, you know. So I have to drive, you know.
So this car is ruining your dancing career?
Yes, it is. It is. My dancing career is downhill from this car.
Up next,
we're here in our Bronco assembly factory here in the back, and we are building Broncos like they're going out of style.
the Buckeye guys. They're next on Cruisin'.
Welcome to this edition of Cruising with the Buckeye Guys. We're here in our Bronco assembly factory here in the back, and we are building Broncos like they're going out of style. We have built well over 250 Broncos in 6 years with this project when we started. The Bronco here in front of me is a 1966 Bronco replacement tub. We're the only ones in the industry to do 66 and early 67 Bronco replacements. You can give us a call on those anytime you want. There's a special order, and the lead time on them is about 2 months. So now we go back to our production Broncos assembly here for all the big builders in the country. Auto Loft is the largest builder, and you guys seen them on TV with us. And they do absolutely fantastic Bronco builds down there. We supply all their tubs, and this one here has new quarters on here that are arched with the wheel flare. So it's built into it, so it's like factory front fenders. You can put 33-inch tires underneath those, and these guys here are working very hard today in the hot temperatures to get this Bronco done for Auto Loft down there in Columbus, Ohio. The Bronco over here that is fully assembled will be going to a big builder out west. They wanted to check out our quality of the body shell, so it's going out there. It's leaving as soon as the truck picks up. But we can also build any Bronco tubs fully assembled like this and ship them on a special pallet so it does not tweak and bend. All our Bronco tubs that we ship out, they need to have this silver coating removed, the transportation coating, before any bodywork begins. This is so it does not rust. Here I got a 1966 Ford Bronco here that if you look at it, it has a lot of rust holes in it. And this is why we sell new tubs. Just to do the sheet metal repair on this Bronco tub here, you're over $11,000 in sheet metal work. And sheet metal work is very time consuming. You can buy a whole new, brand new metal tub, complete, for less than $13,000. So when you have new tubs and new sheet metal work, you have no rust issues anywhere. It's just so much cleaner to have a new tub and build your Bronco project. At Buckeye Classic Car Restoration, we can do all your restoration needs, be it concours restorations, full body builds, Mustang builds, Camaro builds. We can do it all here. Even 4x4 trucks we can do. Give us a call, 330-533-4757 or BuckeyeResto.com. We have immediate openings for full restorations and overall paint work and body work.
Coming up.
This thing was done old style, which means there's a lot of old equipment still on here.
That's next on Cruisin'. Now back to Brookpark, Ohio for Cruisin' for Heroes. I want to get a Plymouth Coupe. I'm thinking, Viper Yellow.
Oh yeah, you'd be close, but they only made 3 colors, black, white, and green.
So why Viper Yellow?
It sits with the Mopar color, which the vehicle is a Plymouth, so I wanted to keep that part of it. And then I know it's difficult for people to say they like a color and don't like a color, but I figure when it comes into a car show, even if people don't like yellow, they're going to see it. So that's why I went bright.
This car was in a barn?
Well, the guy advertised it. It had 26,000 original miles, even had the original tires on it, even though they were dry rotted and flat. He started taking it apart and kind of got a little bit over his head and decided he did not want to complete it. I saw it in a newspaper and I bought it.
So you were looking for a project?
I was looking for a project car.
And the amazing thing is, I mean, 26,000 miles, it sat for all that time and
yeah.
No Bondo?
No Bondo on it. A lot of surface rust that we took care of, but there's no Bondo on this thing at all.
Tell me about some of the quirky things about this car, like even the little stripes around the headlights and stuff.
This thing was done old style, which means there's a lot of old equipment still on here. So all the stainless steel, the chrome, that's all original. The paint that they put on it was original. I went with the original interior, the original steering.
Tell me about the interior.
Like I said, the interior is original. It was a business coupe, so there was never a back seat in this thing. I took the dash frame to a place called Cuyahoga Valley Career Center. It's a trade school in Brecksville. And I let the high school kids in the machine shop make me a dash plate for this thing.
Weren't you nervous about what you were going to get back?
No. I knew they were going to do a good job.
So you look at the dash, it's really unusual. Tell me about it.
It's just a crisscross grid that they decided to put on it. And then I put the antique gauges for it. Upgraded the radio a little bit, so it does have a CD player in it, so I wanted to be able to listen to the tunes. And the other thing I put on it is, because there's no master cylinder on this thing, I put 2 brake gauges on the right side of this thing so I could figure out how much braking is being done on the front and back, and then if one of them goes bad, I'll know exactly which one it was.
So what do we have in there now?
It's a 350 in there. I had to go to GMC because I didn't have room for a big block. I rebuilt the 383 to fit in there, but because the 383 is a much bigger engine, I would have had to cut the cowl or the cowl apart to get the engine in, and I didn't want to do that because it was in such nice shape.
Was there any point where you're like, oh man, I bit off more than I can chew?
No, no. One of the things I have to tell people when they do a job like this, if you get to the point where you get frustrated and you want to cut corners, walk away from the car. Come back later because you're going to regret it when you're done.
As great a time as we've had here in Brook Park, we're also here for a reason, for Wounded Heroes, and the man who put all this together is Ken Volpe. Ken, this is such an amazing event. How did this get started?
On May 12th of 2012, my son was blown up by an IED in Afghanistan. And when we were at Walter Reed Medical Center, there's 80 rooms there that were filled with men and women with no arms and no legs. And my wife and I just said to each other, we got to do something. And this is what we came up with to help our soldiers wounded in combat.
Such a great event for so many of us to come to, but what's the most rewarding part for you?
The most rewarding part is when I help a soldier and their family looks at me with tears in their eyes and just thanks for what we do. And we do it unselfishly, and my wife and I donate 100% of what we raise to a soldier in one form or another. We've landscaped soldiers' house in North Carolina. We give them cash for Christmas gifts, whatever their needs are.
We appreciate you letting us be just a small part of this. Thank you so much for having us, and of course, we'll see you for year number 4.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ken. Thank you for joining us on Cruisin'. We'll see you next time. Have a good day.